Hey there, welcome to today's webinar where we are going to talk about what your doctor isn't telling you about your hormones, gut health, and metabolism, and why you can have normal blood work and be doing all the right things with your nutrition and exercise and told that everything looks fine, but you still feel off. I'm Ashley Drummons, and today we are diving into something that is keeping a lot of people stuck, frustrated, and exhausted, and that is your hormones, your gut health, and your metabolism. So, being you're here, I'm assuming that you are probably somebody who's already working out, eating clean. Maybe you even track your macros or your nutrition and you're taking a couple supplements, but perhaps your energy is a little bit low or your sleep is off or you're just not able to build that lean muscle like you normally can. A lot of times people come to me and their energy seems unpredictable, their digestion doesn't seem right, and that drive, that like oomph that you know that you normally have just isn't there. So, no matter how hard you train, no matter what supplements you take, or how perfect your nutrition is, it can feel like you cannot get lean muscle, or you can't boost fat loss, or you can't get that drive back. So, I'm here to talk to you about what could be going on, and a lot of things you want to look for. I mean, like I said, maybe you've gone to the doctor, you've expressed these concerns, and they do some basic blood work panels and tell you that everything's normal. That's just a part of aging, or, oh, everything's normal. It's just because you're super active, or it's just stress. But deep down, you know there's more to it and something's not right. So here's the truth. Traditional blood work often misses the key markers that impact your energy, your body composition, your overall strength and your performance, your ability to get good sleep and stay asleep, especially if you are somebody who is active. And what I mean by active is if you're working out 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, or playing a sport or going to the gym, that is considered very active. And today I'm going to show you why traditional blood work and what your doctors are missing that could be the key to your problems of why your energy feels off or your body composition isn't where you want it to be, or even your sleep and strength and performance. Um, Also, if at any point during this webinar I'm talking and you're nodding yes and you're thinking like all this sounds exactly like me and what I've been dealing with, I want to invite you to apply for my PR Fuel Elite program. So what this is it is a personalized high-level coaching program where we run all of your functional lab works, create a custom supplement formula based off your lab works, dialing your nutrition with specific macros, again, based off your lab works to help optimize your energy, your metabolism, and your hormones so that you can finally get your energy back. You can finally start seeing more performance gains and strength gains, the lean muscle you want, and some body composition shifts. So you'll find the link to that application underneath this webinar video below that you can go ahead and apply for that. But for right now, we'll get into it. Okay. So why traditional blood work often misses the mark? Most doctors are not looking for underlying root causes. They're typically looking for diseases. So the doctor's job, and I always tell people this, their job is to keep you alive and to make sure there's nothing immediate or urgent that needs to be addressed. They're not looking for how to optimize your health. They're not looking for how to increase your strength and your energy or how to enhance your performance or what could possibly going on with your hormones, especially for somebody like yourself who is probably active, you're already eating clean, nothing is totally off. Like on textbook, you look like a generally healthy person, but something internally is going off. So doctors are not trained and they're not interested in let's optimize your health and get you feeling like the high performer that you are. They're more interested in just making sure there's nothing serious going on. So that's the number one problem. Um, I've had so many people who go to their doctor, they come to me, they're like, I just had my hormones checked. They checked B12, they did a full workup, and they said that all of my numbers are fine and that I'm even in optimal range. Yet they still feel terrible. Normal does not mean optimal. So there's some key differences when you go to a traditional doctor and when you look at functional health. Number one, the ranges, and you'll notice this if you ever look at your blood work, The ranges can be like 0 all the way to like 4 to 500. Where in the functional health world, and especially with like what I do, we look at that optimal range. The numbers are much tighter because we're not interested in just like making sure that you're just barely keeping it alive or making sure you're not going off the deep end. We want you feeling your absolute best. And there are very tight parameters and numbers around that. So that's the first thing. The second thing too is blood is actually the least accurate way of assessing things like micronutrients, hormones, and stress. Why is that? I get asked this all the time. Like, what do you mean? Like, how can my blood work be different? Your blood work is showing what is going on a very like outside aerial view, where when we do saliva and we're doing urine, we're looking at what is going on a cellular level and a metabolic level. So with urine, we're looking at can your body and does it have the right metabolites to metabolize your excess hormones? So for my people with estrogen dominance, this can be men and women. Do you even have the right nutrients and the gut microbiome to be able to metabolize that excess estrogen? Or is it getting caught back up in your bloodstream? We can check this with urine. You don't check that with blood work. The other thing, too, with saliva, it is showing what is available with your hormones on a cellular level. So that means what hormones are available to your organs and to your cells. Where blood work is more looking at what is just running through, keeping you at a homeostasis baseline. So that's the biggest thing is when you're getting these traditional blood works, and the same thing is true, like if you're just running in, you're getting B12, that is not actually going to assess B12 because B12 based on blood is going to be very different based on B12 from a cellular or urinary test because we're looking at what's being metabolized. So that's the main difference of the blood work versus saliva, urine, the things that I do. But the other thing that traditional blood work often misses and your doctor often misses are some very key things that are important for you if you are trying to optimize your health, increase your energy, build lean muscle, have better endurance, have more strength, and really get better sleep and recovery. So number one, thyroid function. Thyroid function is huge. They might run a test for your TSH and your TSH might be normal, but without also testing things like your free T3, reverse T3, thyroid antibodies, you could still have issues with thyroid going on that isn't going to show up if just a regular TSH panel is ran. So that's number one. That's super important. Number two, hormone imbalances. So estrogen, testosterone, cortisol, and insulin all impact your metabolism and your body composition, along with your overall mental health and your ability to perform. That dopamine, that serotonin, that drive, your hormones affect all of that stuff. But if they're not tested through saliva and urine, you're not going to get a full picture. So you can keep going back and you're going to get totally different numbers with blood work than what you would with a saliva or urine work. Your blood work will always show what is being sent and distributed throughout the body to basically keep you alive, but it's not showing what's available within your cells and to your other organs, like I mentioned. So we always want to make sure, and anybody you see, even if you don't do my PR Fuel program, that's fine. Anybody you see when they test your hormones, you always ask for either saliva or urine. That is going to be the best test for giving you a comprehensive, true look at what's going on. And a perfect example of this is I had one client, Holly, who was struggling with symptoms that seemed like high estrogen or very high levels of estrogen. And she went to her traditional doctor, ran the blood work. Doctor told her she's got high estrogen, so put her on birth control to bring her estrogen down to put it back into homeostasis for her to help with some of those symptoms. But I had asked her, I was like, before you get on birth control, will you please just let me do your saliva, urine, and some micronutrient tests to see what's going on? And sure enough, when we ran the saliva panel and the urine panel, She actually had low estrogen, but had relative estrogen dominance. There is a huge difference. So for her, she had mimicking symptoms of what somebody who's just looking at a surface level view of high estrogen would be, when in reality, she actually had low estrogen, but the reason she was having those symptoms was because it was relative estrogen dominance, which just means the level of estrogen she had was higher in relation to progesterone. So she did not need something to lower her estrogen. What she needed was something to balance out her hormones and to bring her progesterone up so that way it was within check. So that's a perfect example of that. Another example of that, similar, I had a client who was a guy who thought he had low testosterone, was feeling all the symptoms of like low libido, inability to really like feel that like drive and to put on lean muscle, was having sleep disturbances, all the symptoms that could be low testosterone. So he went to his doctor. Doctor ran it, told him like, oh, let's just give you some HRT. It's definitely low testosterone. We don't need to test that. And again, I was like, will you please just like, let's run your saliva and urine panels. And we ran it. His testosterone was fine. He didn't need that. The problem he had was he had estrogen dominance. Yes, men can also get estrogen dominance, and he was having issues with his liver and his gut and its inability to detox the excess estrogen. So ended up with estrogen dominant symptoms, which can be similar to what you would think low testosterone is. So this is why it's so important. And again, what your doctor isn't telling you, and it's not really your doctor's fault. They're just not trained to look at the underlying root cause. But when you go in and it's traditional blood work, or they're just treating a symptom and not the thing causing the symptom, you end up missing the mark and having a lot more issues. So that's the number two thing, is your hormones. Your hormones are a huge thing that need to be tested correctly. Third thing is going to be inflammation and gut health. Everything starts in the gut. As somebody who is active, if you're working out 3 times a week or more, you're eating clean, you're also getting your sleep, you're also maybe taking a multivitamin, maybe some supplements that you found because you heard they were good for you. If you are not checking your inflammation and your gut health, you are doing a huge disadvantage. So everything that we consume has to go through your gut, all right? So your carbohydrates, your protein, your fat, we consume all of that. There then is a whole lot of processes that have to happen to break down those macronutrients. So your macronutrients being carbs, fat, and protein, break down those macronutrients to start converting them into ATP, which is our energy source, and starts this whole cycle. We got the citric acid cycle, we got the Krebs cycle, which I can't really demo in this video because it would take way too much time. But we have all these cycles, and think of them like wheels that have all these little cogs in them. If your gut health is off and it's not able to break down the food that you're eating, you're going to have a first step problem where, okay, so your body is not properly digesting food. From that, though, what a lot of people have that I see who come to me and we do their full micronutrient and gut health panel is they usually have some sort of bacteria overgrowth, candida overgrowth, gut dysbiosis. Some common symptoms of that are brain fog, low energy, recurring yeast infections, whether that's like vaginal, oral, athlete's foot, fungal infections, if you have really bad allergies, recurring congestion, things like that usually are all indicative of you got something going on with your gut. You can't test the gut through blood work. It has to be tested through either, you could do a stool sample, although that's a little more complex, but you can also do that with the testing that we do with the urine test. Once we fix your gut, a lot of those systems start working properly again, because now your immune system, which all starts in the gut, can now regulate the bacteria. It can break down the food that you're consuming. You're digesting things better. You're absorbing things better. But even more than that, this also affects your neurotransmitter health. Did you know that 90% of serotonin, so serotonin being the happy hormone, 90% is started in the gut? 90%. So we have all these companies that are creating anti-anxiety and like SSRIs and all these things, which isn't bad. I don't have a problem with traditional medicine. But before you go that route, look at the gut, where serotonin is even produced, where all your neurotransmitters are even produced, and see if there is something going on. And again, that is one of the things that is tested through urine with a micronutrient test. So inflammation in gut, super important. Traditional blood work, and doctors are not testing this, which is so sad because it could really help a lot of people with getting their energy back, getting their hormones balanced, taking care of your neurotransmitter health, but also just optimizing your overall health and boosting your immunity. So, number four of this, and the last one we'll talk about, and then we'll move on, that traditional blood work often miss is micronutrient deficiencies in highly active people. So again, highly active people being somebody like yourself, you're working out 3, 4 times or more a week, you're eating relatively healthy, you're sleeping, you're doing all these things. But just like a car cannot run without gas and oil, your body cannot run without the proper micronutrients. So you can be doing all these things. You're getting your macros, you're getting your workouts, you're eating clean, you're taking a couple supplements, but if you have a micronutrient deficiency, going back to the analogy with the wheels, and this is the cool thing is when you do the testing, you'll see all the little micronutrients that keep that wheel turning. When you have a deficiency, it doesn't matter if you're doing all those things, you are still going to feel off. You're still going to have energy issues, sleep issues, brain fog, hormone imbalances because your body is deficient in specific micronutrients that have to be tested through urine and saliva to see what's going on a cellular panel. Blood work, again, is only going to show a few very basic markers, but like a lot of the people that come to me, it's crazy because most of the people who I work with my PR Fuel program, 90% of them, they're like, yeah, I eat healthy. Yes, I exercise. I strength train 2, 3, 4 times a week. Yes, I get sleep. Yes, I am taking some sort of multivitamin. And then we run all their tests, and I'm like, well, the multivitamin you are taking is garbage, which that's a whole other webinar I could do. The supplement industry is garbage. Most of the supplements you're taking is just a marketing scheme. And if you look at the labels and the ingredients, it's going to be full of toxins. It's also going to be underdosed, or it is dosed for a very standard average American, which we know you are not the average person. So everybody comes to me for this, and then we run all their tests, and I'm like, your body tells us exactly what's going on. You're deficient in specific amino acids, which again, the supplement industry is full of branch chain aminos, but there's not enough in those formulas, and they're missing a lot of the key ones that are really important. But then going back to like key minerals, well, you're extremely deficient in things like chromium, magnesium, zinc, selenium that are all super important for your energy, but also for your hormone health and your neurotransmitter health and converting the food that you eat into an energy source. So you have to have these things done in order to see what is causing the lack of energy or the lack of the ability to gain lean muscle or the body composition issues, like having that excess belly fat. It's usually a hormone imbalance and a gut imbalance that traditional blood work is not going to do for you. So, micronutrient deficiencies being number four, one of the biggest things. And like I am my own testament to this because if you followed me at all or not, like just real quick, like I was having issues as somebody who fit this description of being highly active and tracking my macros, and I'm sleeping and I'm recovering and I'm meditating and I'm doing everything, but something was still off. And it took a really long time and a lot of research and a lot of my own advocating for myself when I finally did one of the tests, like what I run through the program. And I was like, there's my problem. I was deficient in all these key vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are required for your body to work properly. So micronutrients are so important for your overall health. So if you've been to a doctor, your doctor tells you like, oh, I ran all your blood work, everything looks fine, but deep down you're like, I just don't feel like myself. This is why. This is what traditional blood work misses. So let's talk about like hormones and gut health and metabolism and the different connection that you need to know just for a little bit. So some of this I've already kind of touched on, but your metabolism is not just about calories in and calories out. That is very basic metabolic science. Everybody knows if you want to lose weight, just eat a little bit less. And if you want to gain weight, just eat a little bit more. Your metabolism is controlled by your hormones, your gut, and your central nervous system. So again, those neurotransmitters, and you probably know this, like when you're happy, your appetite might be different than if you're feeling low and sad, your appetite might change as well. If these things are not optimized, you are going to struggle with energy, cravings, digestion, sleep, blood sugar dysregulation, no matter how clean you eat or how hard you train. So let's break it down. Hormones, cortisol, estrogen, testosterone, and insulin all influence fat storage, muscle growth, and muscle recovery. If they are out of balance, you are going to struggle through your workouts. You're going to wonder what happened to my metabolism? What happened to my endurance? Why am I so fatigued? You're also going to notice a lot too in your sleep and wake cycles. So cortisol changes all throughout the day. So if you're noticing like you can fall asleep, but then you're waking up all throughout the night, it's normally a hormone imbalance. Or if you're waking up, but like you have a really hard time, like I just can't get going. Like I'm waking up, but like I need my coffee and like you're just kind of sluggish in the morning. That's also a cortisol imbalance. And then not even getting into like insulin sensitivity and the blood sugar and all those things. So hormones being number one. Number two is your gut health. Like I said, your microbiome affects everything, nutrient absorption, immune function, and even the mental health that we touched on. So if you're bloating, digestive issues, bowel movement issues, brain fog, your skin is a huge thing. When people start seeing their skin change, that's usually a hormone thing and a gut health thing that has to be addressed through the underlying root cause. And then number three, we have your metabolism. Your body adapts to stress. So if you are under chronic stress, it could be from overtraining, it could be from poor sleep, or it could even be from having a hormone imbalance. Your metabolism is going to slow down to protect itself. So again, if you're having issues with energy, if you're struggling to change your body composition, whether that's to put on lean muscle or whether it's to bring your fat, your body fat percentage down, metabolism is affected by stress. Even fitness and working out is still a stress. Good or bad, the body doesn't know a difference. It just recognizes it as stress and will respond accordingly. So keeping all these things in check is super important. So we'll start to kind of like wrap this up. So the three functional lab tests that you need, if any of this sounds like you, is if your blood work came back normal, you're like, I don't know, something still feels off. Number one, you want a comprehensive hormone panel that is saliva and urine. This is going to look at your thyroid, your cortisol, your DHEA, which is the precursor to hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, and your insulin to identify any imbalances that are impacting your metabolism, your energy, your mood, sleep and recovery, and strength and performance. So that's number one, is a comprehensive saliva or urine hormone panel. Number two is a comprehensive micronutrient and gut health metabolic panel. This checks for imbalances in your bacteria, leaky gut, inflammation. It's going to address digestion and bloating in the immune system. It's going to do all those micronutrient deficiencies. It's going to look at your amino acid report, your neurotransmitter health. Very important. This is also a urine, saliva. Some of them, yeah, urine, saliva. That's your micronutrient panel. Number three is an optional panel. Not everybody has to have it. This is more so just based on my 15 plus years experience of doing this. This is kind of the next one that comes in line, is a food sensitivity inflammation test. And the reason this is one of the ones that goes in there is because if you find out that you're having chronic gut issues and you're having chronic like brain fog and fatigue and all those bacteria overgrowth things we talked about, it could be that you are consuming a food regularly that is causing a lot of inflammation in your gut that you have a sensitivity to, which is different than a severe food allergy, but will still cause problems with your overall immune system and your overall gut health. That food sensitivity panel is going to show, hey, you got a couple of these foods that when you consume them, it pisses off your intestines and then it's all inflamed and it's throwing off your neurotransmitters, it's throwing off nutrient absorption. So a lot of times I have everybody do micronutrients, we do hormone panel. If there are some issues, then I recommend doing the food sensitivity panel because then we can remove the food that is triggering some of the gut imbalances and get you on track to heal your gut and then optimize your hormones and your overall metabolic health. Most doctors won't run these tests unless there is a huge major issue. But like I said, with my program with PR Fuel, this is the foundation of transforming your health. Because when you know what's happening inside your body, and I mean like detail, that's the coolest part is like when you go through and you see this, you're going to see your whole list of vitamins and minerals and amino acids and your gut microbiome and your neurotransmitter health and your hormone levels and your vitamin D and your insulin. You're going to see all of that. And then you're going to know, okay, now I know exactly what's going on inside my body. Now we know what you need to get you back to feeling your personal best and get you back to feeling like that drive, energy, empowered, that confident version of yourself. So, a couple things you can do now to start balancing out your hormones, optimizing your health and your gut health. Number one, balance your blood sugar and your nutrition. Blood sugar is very important. So eat enough protein, eat enough complex carbohydrates, eat enough fat at every single meal. This is going to help with the insulin hormones. This is also going to help with stabilizing energy levels. This is also going to help with cortisol and reducing some of the stress in the body. Because when you are under eating and overtraining, your body pumps out more cortisol to make up for that energy, which is going to downregulate your hormone production. One of the biggest issues I see with people who are highly active is overtraining and undereating. So keto, low carb, fasting, fasted workouts, not consuming post-workout meals, not consuming enough protein and carbs. That is the biggest issue I see when I get micronutrient reports back. And that's the cool thing though, is I can see if you are under consuming certain macronutrients in your everyday life that is causing a lot of imbalances and deficiencies. So consuming enough is going to be very important. I mean, rule of thumb is you want to consume around 1 gram at least of protein per pound of body weight, lean mass. So if you're 120 pounds, aim for 120 grams of protein. If you're 180 pounds, aim for 180 grams. The next macronutrient that comes in line is complex carbohydrates. Glucose is still the biggest energy source in your body, and glucose is what your body needs if you are highly active. So all this craze, all these trends of keto, intermittent fasting, fasted cardio, fasted workouts, like low carb, high protein. All I got to do is look at your micronutrients and I can tell you, hey, your body does not like this because your cortisol, your stress hormones are all out of whack. Your sex hormones are now basically plummeted because there's not enough food to have the energy to produce those hormones. And your micronutrients are all off. So eat enough food to make up for the energy demands you are placing on your body. Okay. So that's one thing you can do starting right now is obviously nutrition. Number two, support your gut health. You can do this through food, eating fermented food, drinking things like bone broth, avoid processed foods. If you're consuming things like simple carbs, sugar, cut that out right now, and that's going to make a huge difference. If you have a bacteria overgrowth, you know what that bacteria feeds on? Sugar, yeast. So cutting out those processed carbs and eating complex carbohydrates. So we're eating our vegetables, we're eating our fruits, quinoa, organic oats, things like that is going to make a huge difference. So that's number two, support your gut health, and really take care of the food that you're putting through your gut. Number three, manage your stress and sleep. Think of this. We grow and repair while we're resting, not when we're working. So if you are training every single day and never taking a day off, you are actually doing a disservice to repairing and building stronger muscles and helping with keeping inflammation down, which when we keep inflammation down, that is going to keep cortisol down. It's going to help with overall body composition as well. So managing your stress, prioritizing sleep and recovery. I always tell people at least 2 days off of your workouts to really give the body time to recover, to get your glycogen restored in your liver is going to do a huge amount to your energy levels, your body composition, and your hormones. These steps alone, honestly, if you just do some of the stuff I mentioned in this webinar, are going to make a huge difference. The next thing that I would say is if you're really serious about getting results, optimizing your health, fixing your hormones, getting your nutrition and macros on track, getting your training on track, I would say don't guess anymore. Apply for my PR Fuel program. Let's run your functional labs. Let's get on a call, talk about your results, and create a custom micronutrient and gut health protocol specifically for you based on what your body needs. That is like the best answer and the best thing you can do if you're really serious about optimizing it. If you're not quite ready for that, I totally understand. You can do these other things then to start prioritizing your health with some of the options that I mentioned of like blood sugar, complex carbs, making sure you're recovering, getting your sleep in. But overall, I hope that you understand, if anything from this webinar, you don't have to accept what traditional doctors tell you. If you did your labs and you did blood work and the doctor says you're fine, but something still doesn't feel right, trust yourself, trust your gut, because something probably isn't right. It's just getting to that underlying root cause of what is really going on through urine, saliva, comprehensive micronutrient metabolic panels, and then addressing those things so that you can get your energy back, so that you can get that drive back. You can feel normal and like the best version of yourself that you know is out there. So, like I said, I have been doing this for over 15 years and helping men and women from various ages, all shapes and sizes, really optimize their health and just get back on track to feeling their best. And I would love to help you. So if you're ready for that, click the link below. Apply for my PR Fuel Elite program. We'll do all your labs. You'll work with me or a functional health coach. We'll create a personalized formula for you. And I promise you, you will feel better faster than anything else out there. So I hope you found this webinar super helpful. I can't wait to help you feel and help you perform and get back to feeling your personal best. And I'll see you later. Bye.